Hey, welcome back again to another episode of the DVO show. I am your host, DVO, Derek Van Otten. And I don't know about you guys, but are you watching the Olympics? I am super excited about the Olympics. Me and my wife, we watch the Winter and the Summer Olympics every 2 years, so alternates. Right now it's the Winter Olympics, and we live in Utah. We hosted the 2002 Winter Olympics. There's some rumors maybe we might get the 2030 bid. I'm crossing my fingers. I haven't even looked if it's already taken or not, but I would love it to come back to Utah. I had a blast in 2002. I'll tell you why. In 2002, it's February 2002, and I turned 21, at the age 21 on December of 2001. So I was 2 months into being 21 years old, and I could go downtown to all the bars, go bar hopping during the Olympics. Oh my gosh, it was a blast. One thing that was really crazy though, before, oh, actually, okay, this is funny. So last episode I talked about the Super Bowl, right? I was actually at a Super Bowl party, and we got drunk, we were wrestling around, and I hit my big toe against the corner of a wall. Right, my shoes were off, and I split it. Okay, I didn't go to the doctor for a few days. Finally went to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, your toe is infected. We need to wrap this up. You can't, be walking on it." So I had to rent a wheelchair. All right. So my good friends, we rented a wheelchair for the weekend. We went downtown, and I'm in a wheelchair, being pushed around. And anyway, it was a blast. The weekend after that, I was walking with a cane. It was pretty badass. I was walking around with a cane, and I don't know what was happening downtown, but the police had to come, and I mean, streets were shut down so people can walk around. But something was happening, and the police had to come, and they were shooting non-lethal guns. I don't know what they were, like little bean bags or something like that. And they had to and choppers were flying above. So I don't know exactly what was happening. I didn't see anything crazy, but for some reason it got kind of crazy downtown for a brief second. Anyway, I had a blast. I was 21 years old. It was 2002. I had such a blast during the Winter Olympics, and I would love for it to come back in 2030. But I'm watching these Olympians compete. And if you think about it, they have to wait every 4 years before they can compete in the Olympics again. So you've got a shot to get 3 medals. All right. Whatever sport you're in, there's probably another 2 or 3 dozen fighting for one of 3 medals: bronze, silver, or gold. And obviously the big goal is the gold medal. So your chances of getting this are so slim, and if you don't get it, you've got to wait another 4 years for your shot. I mean, when you put that in perspective like that, for me, man, that shows who the best of the best is. And it's exciting to watch, and it's fun to watch people represent their countries, to represent their flags, and the pride they have, and to watching them compete. And it's funny as I'm watching them. There's so many that they know their competitors. They know them. They've competed with them in other events, like around the world, in other countries, and they've competed in for example, we're talking about the Winter Olympics, right? Like the X Games, the Winter X Games, for example, the world competitions. So they know each other, and they kind of know what they're going to do, and they're still trying to do the best. Like, for example, this year we really got into the half pipe, the snowboarding half pipe. We really got into it. We were watching everything on the snowboarding half pipe, and watching these guys and girls. We were watching both, actually, men and women, watching them just take the half pipe and go as high as they can go, and doing these tricks and landing these tricks. And you see them fall and how discouraged they'd be. But you know what the other competitors did? Even from other countries, they'd come over and give them a hug. Like, I thought that was really cool. And for example, I was watching his name was Red, right? Young kid, I think he's from the Midwest, and he won the gold medal in 2018. And he's basically coming to defend his medal. And he didn't get a medal. He didn't medal in the half pipe. I'm sure he was devastated. But this is what I was watching. All right. These these Olympians have humility, and they have empathy. Like I said, they were coming over and hugging the competitors that lost or that fell, because they had 3 shots, and I think they took the best of the 3 or the best 2 of the 3. And so if you fell twice, I mean, you are in competition with some of the best in the world. If you fall once, you're like, okay, I got to make these 2 count. If you fall twice, you basically know you're done. Some people didn't even go on the 3rd run because they fell twice. They're like, what's the point? I might risk getting hurt. There's no way I'm going to get in the top 10 because these guys and girls are the best in the world. And you can't make a mistake. The margin of error is so thin in these high stakes. But watching these boys and girls, these men and women compete, and again, like I said, have pride, was so great to watch. For me, watching someone with passion, whether it's snowboarding or painting or whatever it is, music, watching someone that has passion about what they do, I get interested in watching it. Maybe that's why I love watching the Olympics so much. And I love watching them compete. And so I want to talk about competing and competition and how important it is, whether it's in life or in business or whatever it is, to compete and want to be the best. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be the best. But also, don't beat yourself up over it when you have a failure. Like I said, these Olympians, they fell. And they'd come over, the other competitors would come over and give them a hug. And they'd be devastated. I'm sure they were devastated. But you know what? They're going to be back in 4 years. They're going to keep competing, right? They're going to get on the plane, go home, and get back on the hill and do it again. So competing is a good thing. Where people start hurting themselves is when they start comparing. So I'm talking about compete, but don't compare. Don't worry about what the person next to you is doing. Don't worry what someone else is thinking about you. Don't compare yourself. Don't look at social media and try to be like someone else. Be you. Be the best you, though. So compete and be the best you that you can be. Be the best father or mother. Be the best son or daughter. Be the best uncle or aunt. Be the best friend, the best neighbor, the best employee, the best leader that you can be. Whatever it is that you want to be, try to be the best at it. And it's okay if you don't get a medal for being the best at it. Maybe you're not going to be the best at it, but just to compete and try to be the best is fun. Like having mentors and they have competitions and I want to be the top one. Like I want to win this. I want to, I don't care if it's a pen. They're like, hey, the top person we're going to give a pen to, I want that pen. I want to compete. I want to be recognized as the best. But if I don't get it, you know what? Hey, that's all right. I'm going to look at who won. I'm not going to compare myself. I'm going to say, hey, man, if they can do it, I can do it too. And that's where people hurt themselves because they want to compare themselves to someone else, to everyone else. And that really hurts you because it just makes you really depressed more than anything. But competition makes you want to be the best. Again, you might not get the gold medal for being the best at it. Maybe not today, but maybe next time you will. And I hope you understand a medal is a metaphor for whatever it is that you want or that you're striving to be. But that's the one thing that I try to do. I try to self-improve like crazy because I want to be the best. I want to be in the history books as one of the best entrepreneurs of all time. I want to be the best father. I want my girls to say, dad wasn't perfect, but man, he's the best dad we could ever have wanted. I want my wife to say the same thing. Hey, sure, DVO's got his flaws, but man, he is the best husband for me. That's what I want. I want my parents to say, hey, you know what? He hasn't always done the best things. He hasn't always made the best decisions, but man, he's the best son we could ever have. That's what I want. I want my friends to say, man, DVO is always there for me. Yeah, he's my best friend. Like I can rely on him. He gives the best advice. That's what I want to do. I want to compete. I want to be the best. And I hope you want to be the best, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Maybe at your job, maybe in your business, maybe, like I said, maybe in your role in society, you want to be the best. Don't compare yourself, but strive and try to be the best that you can be. You'll only be happier competing. It makes you better, makes you stronger. Whether it's stronger physically, stronger mentally, stronger emotionally, competing will make you stronger. Trying to be the best, there's nothing wrong with trying to be the best, as long as you know you might not get it, but maybe on the next run, maybe on the next try, maybe on the next attempt. And you don't quit, you just keep going for it. All right, I want you guys to be the best that you can be. I want you to be the best version of yourself, the best you that you can be. All right, let's talk about our next entrepreneur highlight for this episode. We're talking about the Olympics. I'm going to talk about someone that I didn't know was an entrepreneur until I was watching the half pipe. And that is probably widely known as one of the best snowboarders of all time, Mr. Shaun White. All right. Shaun White was born September 3rd, 1986 in San Diego, California. As you know, I'm a big fan. I love San Diego. He's from San Diego. He's the youngest of 4 children. He was born with I hope I'm saying this right, so sorry if I'm not, tetralogy of Fallot. It's a congenital heart defect, which required him to have 2 heart surgeries before he was even 1 year old. That's crazy, right? And now he is probably considered the best snowboarder of all time. He grew up skiing. At age 6, switched to snowboarding. And at age 7, he received his first sponsorship. So if you're not sure how that works, basically these athletes are sponsored, right? Because it takes a lot of time and money. They're paying for trainers. They're paying to use the resort, to use the mountain, wherever the training facility. They're paying for this. They're paying for coaches and trainers. They don't just have one coach or trainer, they have multiple, because there's different trainers and coaches that focus on one area for them. Right? They have to travel. They're traveling all over the country, all over the world to compete and be the best. For example, talking about the Olympics, it's not a free ride to go to the Olympics, okay? So they need to get sponsorship. These sponsors are big companies, for example, like Burton. They're one of the biggest snowboarding manufacturers in the world. They sponsored Shaun White at a young age, most of his career. At age 9, he was being mentored in skateboarding by who probably go down as the greatest skateboarder of all time, Tony Hawk. All right, Shaun White became a pro skateboarder at age 16. That's incredible. So at age 7, he's already, if he's being sponsored, he's probably considered a professional, right? So he's a professional snowboarder at age 7, professional skateboarder at age 16. That's incredible. All right, now we're going to the juicy part of how he became an entrepreneur. In 2008, he released his first video game called Shaun White Snowboarding, which was followed by the next year, Shaun White Snowboarding World Stage. In 2014, he then owned Air and Style. It's a festival that started in Austria. He brought it to Los Angeles. It's an annual festival now where some of the greatest in the world compete. Again, it's called Air and Style. People are snowboarding and skateboarding. In 2016, he purchased a minority stake in Mammoth Resorts. Mammoth Resorts owns, which makes Shaun White a part owner of Mammoth Mountain, Snow Summit, June Mountain, and Bear Mountain. These are all the mountains and resorts where he started his snowboarding career. Now let's get to the Winter Olympics part, all right? He has participated in 5 Winter Olympics. That spans, if you do the math, 20 years. All right, in 2006, 2010, and then 2018, he won gold. And I remember in 2018 watching this, because in 2014, he did not get gold. And it was a big discussion in 2018. He was actually falling behind. And then he ended up winning gold. I remember watching, it was great. He also has participated in the Winter X Games, which we've briefly talked about. He has won a medal every year in the Winter X Games since 2002. But here we are at the 2022 Winter Olympics. Shaun White has announced that this will be his last Olympic appearance. So this is his last shot, all right? And it was a little sad, all right? Again, I've been watching it. He didn't medal. And it was very emotional for him. I was watching him as people were clapping and cheering. So on his third run, he fell, all right? He did a trick, didn't land. And again, at that high stake, with that great of Olympians performing, you fall, there's a really good chance you're not going to make it. All right, he fell and he didn't medal, but it was emotional. Like, he was crying and people were hugging him and people were cheering for him, and it was so great to see that, because he changed the game of snowboarding. All right, all these people who are in the Olympics today and who were competing, who won medals in the half pipe, the snowboarding man, now I confused myself. Half pipe, all grew up watching him, right? Because he's been doing this for 20 years now. Some of them weren't even born in his first Olympics, and now they got a gold medal this year. I was watching; it was incredible. Anyway, so he announced that this will be his last Olympics. In fact, he then later announced that the Olympics will be his last competition. I don't know if that's true. That's what he says. I don't know if that's true. And to be honest, I don't pay much attention to snowboarding other than every 4 years during the Olympics. But if that is true, then the best to him. Now, why I'm talking about this also, one thing I didn't realize is that he was actually riding his own snowboard. So actually, January of 2022, just a month before the Olympics, he actually launched his own brand. It's a lifestyle brand called WhiteSpace. And if you were watching it, obviously the U.S. Olympic team was sponsored by Spider. But other than that, everything that Shaun White had, his board, his goggles, his helmet, I believe, were all his own new brand called WhiteSpace. Very cool. So I could definitely see if he says the Olympics is my last competition, because he's going to be very busy with his WhiteSpace brand. A little side note about Shaun White, he also plays guitar. He's in a rock band called Bad Things, and his estimated net worth is around $60 million with all of his endorsements, winnings from competitions, and business endeavors. And that's the story about the great Shaun White. All right, you guys, thanks again for watching and listening to another episode of the DVO show. Make it a great one. Be the best you can be. Bye.